Welcome to the Gyrl Podcast, the show where purpose meets inspiration. Each week, I sit down with incredible individuals who open up about their real life journeys, the wins, the setbacks, and the lessons in between. Whether you're navigating career moves, entrepreneurship, or personal growth, you're in the right place. I'm Kyra Mitchell Lewis, your host, and I'm glad you're here. Let's glow up together. All right, friends, welcome. Happy Thursday. Hope you all are having a fantastic week so far. All right, let's see. Today we're going to be talking to Lauren Lester, and we're going to be talking about thriving as a solopreneur, right? She's thriving in her business as a solo lawyer, but I know that there are a lot of us out there who are solopreneurs, amongst workingpreneurs, but you might be thinking, how do I thrive on my own? And, I think a lot of times when we start businesses, we think we need to hire people. I need somebody. I need an assistant. I need this person. I need that person. So we're going to talk to Lauren about how she has done it and how she's built her successful law firm. And she'll give us some strategies about how she finds success and how she finds balance in her life. So let's bring Lauren into the show. All right, let's welcome Lauren to the show. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you so much, Kyra. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, so let's dive in. Why don't you get started by telling our audience listening or watching who you are and what you do?
So I am Lauren Lester. I am an attorney based out of Denver, Colorado, and I help folks affordably protect their financial peace through estate planning and prenups.
Love that. Well, let's talk about where you started. So you have built a successful practice yourself. So let's just talk about the steps you took. You did that right out of college.
Right out of law school, yeah.
Yeah.
So law is actually a second career for me. I
Oh.
graduated from undergrad, really went out into the working world, not quite sure at early 20s what I wanted to do. Fell into a role as a project manager for a web development company that I was good at for my skill set, but kind of hit a
Mhm.
wall and thought, I ultimately don't want to work for someone else. I want to work for myself and find a way that I can help people by doing that. So I went back to law school. I went to school at night. I went for 4 years. And the day that I found out that I passed the bar exam was just pure elation. I had finally kind of got to the doorstep of this dream that I had of owning my own business and helping folks through that. But when all of the excitement of passing the bar exam sort of settled down, I realized I actually had no idea how to run a business. They don't teach us that in law school. They teach us how to be lawyers. So I started to look around at what other lawyers who seemed to be successful were doing, and I got a lot of the same answers. It was high hourly rates, keeping costs really vague, and just kind of litigate everything. And I thought, I get that that's how people are doing it. But if I were to come as a client to a firm like that, I couldn't be a client. And here I was with a doctorate degree, able to make good
Mhm.
money. And I
Yeah.
thought, if I can't be a client of my own firm, how are my
Mhm.
neighbors going to be clients? And they are folks who are working just as hard. They're doing everything
Mhm.
right financially, and yet they can't afford the legal services that they need.
Mhm.
So I thought, I'm going to give it a shot and try it a different way, build it a different kind of practice. Had a lot of bumps and bruises, a lot of face plants. The journey was really long because there really wasn't any roadmap because most attorneys don't
Mhm.
practice that way. But I was able to, after a few years, kind of get my footing under me and be able to build this practice that has transparent pricing. Clients
Mhm.
know what they're going to get up front, really great customer service so that folks are really happy with the product that they get, and be able to help more people who thought they would never have access to the legal services they wanted.
Mhm. I love that. I mean, because you went into it like your whole mission is to help people. And it sounds like you want to, you want to help people, but you want people to also understand like what they are getting when they, agree to work with you. And I think that's pretty awesome because not only, obviously I'm not a lawyer. I don't play one either, but I just think like there's something so important. A lot of people are afraid, right? Of like, talking to lawyers about whatever it may be, because it just feels like a daunting, like it feels daunting. It feels like, oh, I did something wrong, or, something bad is going to happen. So I think you've seen, and the way your business model is set up, that like you care about the people first. And
Always, yes. And I
yeah.
totally get I joke with my clients all the time, like, I know I'm probably the last call you wanted to make. And I did divorce and custody cases for a long time, for like
Mhm,
the first 9 years of my practice. And so I definitely knew that those folks didn't want to make
mhm,
that call, right? They were in a really tough season, kind of a big storm of their
mhm,
lives.
mhm,
And they were trying not to make it worse, but they knew that that was certainly a risk because there's two people involved in those cases. So I
mhm,
would always tell my clients, I know you don't want to call me, but I'm going to make as much of the process that we can control as good as we can.
mhm,
Because,
mhm.
yeah, it is a really difficult conversation. Even now,
Yeah.
I talk to folks about estate planning, which means we talk about
Right.
death, right? And all
Yeah.
these like horrible things that could happen to your family. And, those are hard conversations to think through as well. And so, really bringing the humanity to it and just remembering
Mhm.
that, these are real people on the other side. I've done my own estate plan and I know how hard it is to think about those things. But it's really important work and really can help a family and protect a family, protect the wealth that folks have built up. And so that's always what I try and remind my clients is yeah, they're hard conversations, but really at the end of the day, you're giving yourself and your family a lot of peace of mind.
Mhm. I love that. Now, Lauren, people might be saying, okay, you are working out there as you're the sole lawyer in your practice. And a lot of people who listen to this show, like they are solopreneurs. And first of all, let me just back up. I want to just commend you for like making that leap into law. And I just want to commend you for like saying, this first project management, that's not it for me, but I'm going to chase the thing that I'm passionate about. So I want to go back and just say kudos to you, because I think there are so many people out there every day who may be afraid to, oh, I went to school for this thing, so I don't want to leap into this thing. And I want to actually ask you, what type of self-talk did you speak into yourself when you were saying, I'm going to leave this project management job, I'm going to transition to law?
That happened actually for me on a random work day. It was late at night. Everyone had left the office, and I had been toying in my head with like, I know this is not where I ultimately want to be, but I have no idea what I want to do. So I actually never thought I would be an attorney.
Mhm.
They're not my people, right? The attorneys that you have, they certainly exist, right? And I thought that's not me. I'm not going to get in with these folks, right? I don't have the personality for it. So
Mhm.
late one night, after everybody had left the office, I went to the one place you would, of course, go to ask an existential question of what do I do with my life? Google. I literally typed into Google, how do I figure out what I want to do? Because I felt so lost. I had no idea, right? Folks would give me ideas. Oh, you're really great at organization. Maybe you should do event planning, or you should go into this field. And I was like, none of that really sounds great to me. So I asked Google, how do you figure out what you should do?
Mhm.
And it led me to a career assessment. So you take all
Okay.
of these, questions of like, how do you like to work? And for me, it was like by myself, my own boss, be able to have an impact, help people. And the results came out to social worker or
Mhm.
attorney. And
Oh,
I
wow.
was like in my early 20s, broke as a joke, and looked down at the bottom and said, what's the average salary of each of these careers? It's like, attorney might sound like a good option, but they were very similar in terms of what they did in their roles. And so I
Mhm.
thought maybe I should consider law school. It was something that was never on my radar. And
Mhm.
I thought, well, I could certainly own my own business, which is my ultimate goal, and I can help people. So let me give
Mhm.
it a shot. So yeah, I think it was really having the courage to look
Yes.
outside the box and, do
Mhm.
something unorthodox, like maybe I'll just ask a search engine and see, what comes up. And if it's a terrible result, I'll never tell anybody about this situation and right, no one will know about it. Yeah, it's really being able to trust, I think, in your own gut and not fall into that sunk cost fallacy of like, wow, I've put, 10 years into this. I can't just walk away, I'm giving all of
Mhm.
that up. but really take it as like, how has that laid a foundation for you, the skill
Mhm.
sets that you've earned, the connections that you've made, and how can you use that to kind of propel you in a different direction?
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I just had to go back to that because I think there are a lot of people out there who may be in jobs now who are saying, like, this is not purpose driven for me and trying to figure out how to. And I mean, of course, and now, like, you can go to Google and, you can talk to Gemini, you can do all that. You can get way more information now with AI tools. So, yeah, so don't be afraid. I think the message we're sending is like, it takes courage. It also takes curiosity in trying to figure out like what matters and what you're passionate about. So, all right. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about we're going to go into the attorney world. So I think everybody listening and watching, I think a lot of what Lauren is going to tell us could be helpful in our everyday lives as you think about your life for those of you who are like solopreneurs and you're building a business. So let's talk about from in your lane when we talk about attorneys, and most attorneys bill hourly.
Correct.
So, but you have some insights into how they can transition from billing hourly to a more profitable model.
Yes. So I do all of my billing on a flat fee basis. So the clients always know upfront what the cost is going to be,
Mhm.
which unfortunately is not how most attorneys work. They sort of give you their hourly rate, which tends to be several
Mhm.
$100s an hour, and they say, we'll let you know when we're done. So you're essentially writing this blank check, which can be really
Right.
scary. And for most of us who have a
Yeah,
budget, that's probably not really feasible for us.
exactly.
So,
Yeah.
doing value based pricing, I think, gets us back to what legal clients are really buying from us. If we came to an attorney and we're actually buying time, we would want them to spend as much time as possible
Mhm.
resolving our legal issue. And that's
Mhm.
usually not the case. Usually, when somebody comes to us, like we talked about, right? It's a really difficult time. They're needing help. Maybe they have a suit that's been filed against them. They're worried about risk that they might be exposed to, right? This isn't typically like, oh, I'm out going to buy a house, which can be really exciting.
Right.
This can be
Yeah.
something that can be feel really heavy. And so if we're selling our time, we're telling clients, well, aren't you wanting us to spend as much time as possible on this? And usually
Mhm.
clients are like, no, I'd like it to get done pretty quickly. I'd like it to be
Yeah.
done well. I still want quality work, but I don't
Mhm.
want you just spinning your wheels and throwing everything against the wall to see what
Mhm.
sticks. And so, really taking a step back and going, okay, clients are not buying our time. What are they really trying to get from us? And it depends on the
Mhm.
practice area. For me in estate planning and prenups, it's a lot of financial peace of mind. In
Mhm.
the prenup space, right? This is a partnership. These two folks are entering into this partnership together. Like, what are the rules around their partnership? You can have the state write your rules, or you can tailor them to what's important to the two of you and what your values are. So it's really coming from that perspective. And I think any entrepreneur in any business really
Mhm.
focusing on, what is the value you're providing, whether you're selling a product or a service, right?
Mhm.
The customer is ultimately getting something that's important to them,
Right.
and it may not be just only the thing you're delivering. It's what does that thing mean to them? And when attorneys
Mhm.
kind of think through that lens, I think it's a lot easier to say, oh, you want some peace of mind, about what should happen to your
Mhm.
stuff if you were to unexpectedly pass away. Here's the service I offer, and here's the price for that if it works,
Mhm.
for their budget.
Yeah, I love that. And like you said, I think like in any industry, if you're providing a service, you should be able to look at like the value that you're bringing to someone. And I love, like you said, you're bringing peace of mind. And peace of mind is worth it, right? Like to me, it's worth paying paying for. And I really love the flat fee because it's just like you like see, like this is the fee and this is all that I get in there. And as long as I know what I'm paying for, I don't care what if you're doing it at 10 o'clock at night or if you're doing it at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of my clients will tell me that one of the reasons they hire me is because I'm pretty transparent about sort of that
Mhm.
work-life blend, I'll say. I'm never trying to balance it and pit it against each other,
Mhm.
but right, I'm a mom, I have a spouse, like those things are really important aspects of my life as
Mhm.
well. And so I've had clients tell me that they've hired me because it's been really clear that I have my work, which is really important, but my family life is also really important. So
Mhm.
they
Mhm.
appreciate that. Yeah, I might be working at 10 o'clock at night, but that's because the next day I'm taking the day off to spend it with
Mhm.
my kids, right? So I think coming to also your business with your personality and what
Mhm.
your value is will attract people who are probably aligned with those values.
Exactly. I love that because it sort of transitions to another question I have for you. Is that how you maintain balance as
Yes.
being working for yourself? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, like you said, I'm the solo attorney. I'm the solo everything in the practice, right? The marketing person, the finance person. So yes, for me, it all starts with my calendar. And I spent a long time really letting my calendar dictate my life. It was sort of I
Mhm.
felt out of control. I think a lot of entrepreneurs can probably feel that, right? It gets out of hand, right? It just sort of takes over and it's all consuming. For me, the kind of slap in the face moment was actually in a hospital bathroom of my 13-month-old at the time. She had just
Mhm.
started daycare. Any of the parents out there know as soon as your kid starts daycare, they're like a little petri dish, right? They get everything and everything. But unfortunately, she was diagnosed with RSV, which is sort of lung respiratory illness, and she had to be hospitalized. So my little tiny 13-month-old is in a hospital crib, which I didn't even know existed, but she has all the tubes hooked up to
Mhm.
her. And I had an emergency, I'll use air quotes here, come up in one of my divorce cases at the time. And it was a pretty manufactured emergency, but I had to deal with it. And I ended up in the bathroom, balancing on the tub, whispering into the phone, trying to deal with this issue. And I had one of those kind of out of body experiences that we
Mhm.
have. And I could see myself kind of hovering over myself, going, what am I doing? Like, this is
Mhm.
how I want to spend my time, right? My kid needs me, and I'm in here in the bathroom dealing with this work thing. So that really was the moment for me of like, this is not
Mhm.
sustainable. I got to make a change here. And for me, I took my calendar because sometimes this is what I do and I just kind of wiped it out. Obviously, I had stuff that I had
Mhm.
committed to, but I said, okay, 6 months from now I don't have much on the calendar. What
Mhm.
would it look like if I took control of it and I didn't let it control me? And so I came up
Mhm.
with this life first calendar system that I use that has 3 Ps. So the first thing that I block off in my calendar is my personal stuff. So
Mhm.
sleep, which is super important to me, right? For most
Mhm.
folks, we need good sleep. And all the other stuff that we have to do, eat, personal hygiene. For me, working out, right? Movement is really
Mhm.
important to me. So I
Mhm.
blocked out time for all of that first. Then I blocked out time for all the people in my life. That's the second P that were really
Mhm.
important. So where's my family time, right? Where's my time with my friends? I just blocked out sort of time blocking big chunks during the week. So example, every day from 5 to 7 is family time. We have dinner, we play
Mhm.
games, we hang out with each other, whatever it might look like, for your own family. And then the last P was productivity. So I really said, okay, what time is left? I've got all my personal time, I got my people time. That's where I'm going to schedule work time and really looked at when am I most alert? So in the morning, I like to do my deep work where, you just sort of block
Mhm.
out everything, kind of focus
Mhm.
down on something. And then in the afternoons, when sometimes I have a little less energy, maybe it's admin work or responding to emails or having
Right.
client calls because that doesn't take as much energy for me. So I really reverse engineered the time I would
Yes.
spend working and to
Mhm.
make sure that my personal time and my people time was blocked off and really held sacred. And for me, that has really made all the difference in kind of keeping that balance between
Mhm.
juggling all the balls in the air, right? And wanting to do a good job with all of them.
I love that. I think that is really good advice because like you said, you have to find something that's sustainable because if not, you're just going to be pulled into a million different places trying to do a lot of different things. And I think like you said, having that sort of out of body experience where you're like looking at yourself going, what is happening here? So, okay. So, Lauren, somebody might be listening. They're saying, okay, like I hear you. Yeah, I want that sustainable, like balance as well. But how can I work less? Because at the end of the day, it's true. We want to work less and make more money, right? What do you say? What's been a formula of success for you that others might be able to apply?
Yeah, so for me, I really leverage technology. Like I said, I'm the only person, right? I don't have an assistant. I don't have any other manpower other than me. And over the years, this has gotten better and better in terms of technology. It's only accelerated its growth. And so when I look at that productivity time, when I'm focused on work, I really try and think, what are the tasks that I show up at well, that my clients really get a lot of value at, right? So I want to pour into having client meetings and talking to people about their specific plans and really listening to their concerns and coming up with solutions that are going to meet them. I don't want to be spending time necessarily writing the same emails or responding to
Right.
inquiries or running billing or doing even marketing,
Mhm.
right? Things like that, spending
Mhm.
hours and hours on stuff like that. So I've really taken each of those different aspects of the business and said, how can I make a system out of this? And how can I automate a lot of that system so that the time I am spending is less and less? And where I am working, it's really in pouring into that client work. So a lot of technology being used really as other folks because I don't have assistants. The tech has sort of been
Mhm.
hired by me to do a lot of that work.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, it's really smart, right? And I think people, yeah, you have to be like really scrappy when you're the only person and you have to figure out things and figure out how to automate things. And I think that's a lot of what, because I personally have struggled with that in the past of like figuring out like, oh yeah, like I have to do these things. So like just say when I'm working on Glow Up Girl stuff, because I have a regular job during the day. So when I'm working on Glow Up Girl stuff, I'm like, okay, I'm doing the admin things. Like, how can I make it easier for myself to not have to write the same email like every month when I'm trying to like make sure all the podcasts are like confirmed, everybody's set up, and just finding like, yeah, create a template. So it's easy. Just plug and play different things so that you don't have to, do all that stuff. And I think that helps people to, work less because you'd be surprised like how much time like doing administrative things, like how much time of the day that takes up. Because like one time there's a Saturday where I was like, I have a bunch of administrative stuff to do. And it was probably like 4 hours. And then I thought
It
I had,
sneaks up on you.
yeah. And I was like, I haven't even gotten to the stuff where it's like the strategy stuff.
Yeah, where you feel like it kind of moves the needle forward. It's just sort of that
Yeah,
maintenance stuff to kind of keep things running. You're like, oh man, I spent half a day on that.
exactly. All right. So, Lauren, when you think about the vision that, for the future of legal services, because I feel like you've given us like a lot of things that you're doing that already has like catapulted, like stages ahead. What do you see? What's your vision for the work you do?
So my vision is that more attorneys adopt this client-centered focus for their practice, that the traditional model sort of becomes antiquated at some point and there are
Yes.
less attorneys doing it and more attorneys really leaning into how can I serve my clients best in terms of the services that they provide, giving them options, not having kind of an all or nothing solution,
Mhm.
and then also, on the pricing side because legal services right now are priced out for a majority of the folks. And these are hardworking folks with good jobs and they have retirement, right? And they still can't afford legal services. So I really think that I'm hoping that the market is shifting in that direction where we can get more folks the legal help that they need at an affordable cost.
Yes. Well, we definitely need more attorneys out there like you. All right. So if people have been watching or listening to us and they're like, how do I connect to Lauren? How can they find you?
Yes, you can find me on all the social platforms. Just search my name, Lauren Lester, and you should be able to find me there. My law firm website is mylifelawyer.com. And then if there are any attorneys out there who are inspired by this conversation and saying, "Yes, I want to take up the torch and have a different practice," I do have a educational business for attorneys to help teach you so you can learn from all my mistakes and skip the line. I have 10 years of experience. You don't need to spend that long trying to figure it out. And you can get some more information and connect with me at differentpractice.com.
Oh, I love it. We'll make sure we put all of those links in the show notes as well. This has been really insightful. First of all, it's just really awesome to talk to someone who really has a customer-centered, like heart-focused business that you care actually about people and making legal services affordable for people. So kudos to you. Thank you for the work that you're doing and just for that people first approach.
Absolutely. Thank you for this wonderful podcast. And like you said, doing it on top of your regular day job, you're bringing so much inspiration to so many folks. So I appreciate your hard work.
Awesome. Thank you. So we're going to slide on into three things with Lauren. I'm going to ask you three questions, just helps our audience get to know you a little bit better. This first question is a favorite of mine. I like to ask all people, like, just how do you start and end the day?
So I start and end my day with a book. So in the morning, I do some journaling. I'm actually currently working through oh shoot, I forgot the name of it now. The Alchemy of, oh man.
It's always like that.
Yes, of course. Yeah. So start the day with a book. So I do some journaling in the morning using some prompts. And then by the end of the day, I sort of like to wind down. I read a lot of nonfiction, but that's sort of my jam, which may not sound like a wind down event for most people. But I like to sort of wind down and read a book. So yeah, I start and end my day with a book.
All right. The second question is, what's a goal or intention you've set for yourself this year?
This year, my goal has been to slow down. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, right, we get on the treadmill and it's super exciting in the beginning and it's really slow and we are happy when it goes faster and faster and we're getting more business and things are growing. But then
Yeah.
it feels like that acceleration just keeps continuing. And so for this
Mhm.
year, it has really been my intention to slow down, do less, which is really hard for me, but really focus on the things that matter most.
Awesome. I love that. And the last question is, where are you currently finding inspiration?
I am finding inspiration in an unexpected place, which is my backyard beehive. So I
Oh.
have a honey beehive that I have been caring for so far this year, and I have really found it brings me so much joy. I cannot wait to go out there. But the more that I think about them, it really reminds me to be calm because you have to show up with calm energy, even though there's thousands of bees flying around you. And they really have their system figured out, right? They're really
Mhm.
sophisticated. They each have their own roles. They do a bunch of different stuff in the hive, but they aren't also like building nests and, creating other things in nature. Like they just do their thing and they do it really well.
Mhm.
So every time I go out there, I think this is the way we should do it, right? Do one thing, do it
Mhm.
well, don't worry about the shiny objects and
No,
just sort
yeah.
of be something that works. So my beehive is giving me a lot of inspiration.
I like it. I love that. That's so awesome. All right, Lauren. So the final thing I'll ask before I let you go is, what are three things you'd like the audience to take away from our chat today?
So the three things are: own your own time. Don't let your time control you or everybody else around you control your time because that will happen if you don't own it. When speaking about time, especially for entrepreneurs, don't sell your time, sell the value that you provide to your customers. And third, don't be afraid to challenge the status quo. If you're in an industry like the legal profession that is very traditional and conservative, small c conservative, right? It doesn't mean that you necessarily have to fit into that box. So challenge the status quo and build a business that's going to work for you in your life.
Awesome. I love that. Well, Lauren, I want to thank you so much again for sharing with us today. You can always come back here in the future.
Can't wait. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's thank Lauren again for all those really great tips today. For all of my entrepreneurs out there, even professionals, I think there was just a lot that we could all take away from as far as our time. And I loved how she talked about like selling the value of what you do and not just your time, because I think it's important all around so that we as professionals, we as entrepreneurs, we don't get burnt out, because usually that's selling hours and just saying yes to things and doing things, but not really looking at the value that you bring to the table can definitely send us down a spiral. So, anywho, with that being said, make sure you check out all of the links in the show notes that Lauren spoke about. If you'd like to learn about Glow Up Girl, you can visit us at glowupgirl.com. If you love this podcast and you like the insights you get, make sure you head over to our website and sign up for our newsletter. You can get more insights, tools, and resources to help elevate your glow up. If you are new here, I just want to say hello. thank you for coming. Hope you come back. And if you've been a part of this community, as always, I want to thank you so much for the support. I'm always just overwhelmed and just so thankful for all the people who continue to come back and listen and share this podcast. It's just very humbling. So thank you so much. All right. So make sure, if you have not seen us on YouTube, so if you're listening to this and you want to see the conversation, make sure you head over to our YouTube. We are at Glow Up Girl. Go there, subscribe, like, do all the things, rate or review us as well. And also, if you are sharing any of our social content, make sure you tag us. I love to see that as well. All right, then another thing, make sure you check out the merch. Yes, I am out here putting it out there. Check out the merch if you have not. Get you a Glow Up Girl shirt, get you a Glow Up Girl mug, or if you're a water drinker, make sure you pick up like a big cup to help you drink. I don't know about you, but like I'm trying. I've been successful this year at really drinking the right amounts of water, and that's just because I have a big cup and it keeps me focused, lets me know what I need to drink. So go over there and check it out. Check out the merch. And lastly, if you know anybody that I should be talking to, or if you are someone out there that you think I should talk to, make sure you send an email to hello@glowupgirl. You can also go on the website and fill out the Be a Guest form, or you can shoot a DM if you are just trying to fill out the situation to see if you might be someone that I would like to talk to. All right, so I think that wraps it up for us today. So I just want to say thank you again to Lauren for joining us on the show today, and I will see you all next week. So until then, my friends, stay focused, fab, and glow up. Take care, everyone.